Good morning, my name is Doug with Aero Automatic, and we installed the fire protection system in this building. As a general description thereof, it consists of steel piping and sprinkler heads that protect all areas of the building from fire. And then a general feed is where the heartbeat starts of the system. It all comes in to this room, and it is then goes through the pump and is distributed into the building accordingly. Each floor has a separate control valve for every single floor, and sometimes even broken up into several systems on each floors, as-built and whatnot. We'll describe that in detail, obviously. As a general note is there's control valves, and there's a main control panel for the pump, which is what this is. And this basically monitors the condition of the system's pressure. And the way the system basically works is the system is held at a specific pressure. When that specific pressure begins to be lost, then this is what we call our jockey pump. We'll start and pump that pressure back to where it's set. No alarms, no tampers, nothing will happen. And as long as this can maintain the pressure in the system, then everything is fine. If this pump, let's just say in an event, a sprinkler head was broken or a sprinkler head is operating due to a fire, the pressure is going to start dropping. This pump's going to come on. That pressure is going to continue to drop because this is not going to be able to keep up with it. At which point a pressure is set for the main pump to come on. It'll identify that this pump can't keep up, and the main pump comes on to feed the systems. And in general, that's how it functions. It's all done by pressure. And again, it's distributed from this room, starts in the street, brings the water in, feeds it through and into the building. Any questions so far? And this particular room has a variety of different, what we call a control valve, or this is basically as a pressure gauge monitoring the discharge side of the pump. There's one on the suction side and so on. Those are gauges. This is the pump itself. This small valve here is a relief valve, which only runs when the pump is running. And its purpose is basically to bring fresh water into the pump, because this pump can come on and run, but not be moving water. It doesn't continually build pressure until it blows up. It can run and churn. And if it does that, if it comes on for whatever reason, and it just sits and runs and no one addresses that issue, this water in this can get to the point of heat so hot that it turns to vapor and it'll destroy itself. That's the purpose of this little valve here, is when it does come on and run, this runs water and continually brings fresh water in to keep it cool. In the event of the pump running, you guys will have your itinerary as to who to call, what to do, and all of those things. I always like to at least say to the maintenance people, if a pump comes on and an alarm is activated, your first knee-jerk reaction should never be automatically to just shut the damn thing off.
Right.
That's not always the best thing. The first thing you need to do is identify why it came on. If it came on for the purpose it was designed, you don't want to shut it off. Most of the times, and 99% of the time, if this thing comes on, it's usually a false alarm for whatever reason. Someone pulled water out of a valve and made the pump come on, or whatever that might be. And it's not bad to get it shut off and, as soon as you can. But again, I encourage anytime a fire protection system starts to operate, especially a pump coming on, obviously you want to identify why it's doing that first. And the shut off process, I can go through that if you'd like, but
It breathes out.
It is very cut and dry. There's an off button that you push and it'll shut the pump off. And to continue with the fire protection, we have moved into stair 1, of which there are 2 stairs. Each has a standpipe, just like this one. On this particular standpipe, it's called a combination because it has a hose valve, which this is, and the gauges and all. This is a pressure reducing hose valve because the pressures at this level that are needed to operate the system on the upper levels is very high, but it's too high for a firefighter to hook a hose to and fight a fire at 300 PSI. So these reduce that down to a manageable level for the fire department. But in general, it is a hose valve, which the fire department would use in the case of a fire to run hoses and fight a fire. And we're at the next level up of standpipe in stair 1. Again, this is a hose valve, which the fire department uses to run a hose and fight fire. It's a pressure reducing type. And this particular floor has a systems control valve for this level, which each level of this building will have one of these. Again, it's a pressure reducing valve, which per design, the pressures that are down here are too high in that they need to be reduced to a manageable level. Basically, this is what is considered the control valve for the floor. So if there is a alarm on a particular floor, you can go to that particular floor and shut just that particular floor off when needed. And again, after you've determined whether it's an accident or it's an event that you just need to leave it alone. Again, the control valve, and then there's a flow switch, which this is, and basically if there's water flowing through the system due to a head going off or whatever the case may be, there's a paddle inside that begins to activate. It's on a delay to where it doesn't just automatically click if it got bumped. And if it stays on in a steady flow, it'll send a general alarm to the building. Again, and then your panel downstairs will identify all of these. If you shut this valve off, if you shut this valve off, it doesn't matter on or off because it's not connected to anything. This one has what we call a tamper switch, which will tell you if somebody shut this valve off, and it'll tell you exactly what floor it was that it happened. Also, same with the flow. It'll tell you flow on level 1, flow on 23, wherever it is. And that's in conjunction with a main flow that's in the pump room. That was the same red box you saw. So in every event, there will always be first the general flow, and then it'll identify what floor. And then on this side, this is the system feeding into the floor. This is just the main drain for the level, which in turn, if you were to shut that off and needed to drain it, you just open this valve. It's tied into a main drain that dumps outside. So if the cleaning people broke a head, or if somebody's kitchen caught on fire, or whatever the case may be, and it's time to drain it, shut that off and drain this. That'll pull the water out of that level. That's about it.